Hello there. What is going on, everybody? Yeah, we are. What are we? A couple days, about 4 or 5 days from actual football returning.
4 days?
About yeah, 4 days from actual football returning. It seemed like the season just ended to me yesterday. I don't know how I feel about you guys, but we close. The Bills wrapping up training camp. We're gonna go over rumors, some news, some camp notes. Got my guys in the building with me, former NFL running back, so like to call him NFL pedigree. James Mallory, what's going on? How you feeling tonight, James?
What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? I'm not ready to talk some football, man. Excited. The season almost here, so back with my guys to talk that talk, as I say. So let's get it.
Yeah, my man Muki Hawkins, Mr. Wolfo 1080, Bills reporter. What's going on, Mook? Know you've been out there at camp. Caught you out there Sunday as we fried in that hot sun.
Yeah, man. You see, I'm sitting up here now, working on my tan, just cooking out there in St. John's Fisher. I'm like, wow, man. This is crazy, but it's been a good time, good experience, and man, football is here. I mean, it took long enough for training camp to get here, but since training camp began, only got 2 more days left, and it's game time.
It's crazy. It was hot out there that Sunday, man. If there was like 94, but it felt like 105. But we bared it in the Bills practice, and I kind of felt bad for the guys a little bit that day. You know what I mean? But either way, we got things we got to talk about. Obviously, if you guys have been watching the news, Cole Beasley is back tweeting again. He has more tweets than he has catches in this camp because he's not on the team still. You got Odell Beckham rumors popping back up, and I think this is actually the proper time to deep dive into this. Reggie Gilliam, the Mr. Versatility, got an extension, so we'll talk about that tonight, and we'll take some questions too. You know what I mean? We'll take some questions tonight. But first and foremost, we're gonna start the show off with our guy here, Reggie Gilliam. Got a 2-year extension from the team, up to about five. I think it's up to about $5.2 million if I'm not mistaken there. So let's give Reggie Gilliam a round of applause here. Shout out to Reggie. I know James. This one is a hit home for you because obviously Reggie was a teammate of your brother's at Toledo when he first got there. So, and obviously, coming out of college and being an undrafted free agent like yourself, how does this feel to see a guy work his way up like this?
Man, it feels good. When you talk about ballers, look at the 2017 Toledo Rockets team.
Mhm.
Go look at that team and how many of them dudes in the NFL. Not many teams in the country can do. Deontay Johnson, he got paid too.
Okay.
That was their wide receiver.
Yeah.
Logan Woodside, he's still in the league, a backup quarterback. And they had some ballers on that team. I'm not even gonna get into that. I can talk all day about that. But he's one of those core guys that you need to win, right? You need a Swiss Army knife, a guy that could do a little bit of everything. He could step in at fullback. He could play some tight end. So you get like 5 for 1 when you activate him on game day. It's sad when I see Bills fans talking about why did he get the extension. It's called football ignorance. Football ignorance. You only want the guys to score all the touchdowns and you just want to make a fantasy football team. Real life football, you need guys like that to be able to move forward and win games. He's a dog. He runs down on kickoffs. He blocks and kick returns. Runs down on punts. Everything you want in a football player, he is that. You cannot win without core players like that. I'm glad for him. He well deserved. And man, I'm happy we get to keep him here in Buffalo no longer.
Mookie, what are you hearing about this Gilliam situation? And Gilliam said he didn't expect it to come right now. Was it a shock to you? Was it a shock to the reporters, the media base as well?
Not really, but it do kind of like get you off guard because you kind of figure like Dawson Knox or somebody would probably be the first guy extended, but I get it. He's proved that he's valuable on special teams, and that with that move right there, it keeps him at a position where the Bills can lock him in because he does so much of the dirty work, You got to reward a guy that does that, especially being undrafted. From out of Toledo, coming in with the abilities he's had, and to you know progress in the Bills system. Once again, here it is, the Bills rewarding a guy that they know how to develop and fits what they're looking for. So that's just a testament to the front office and the coaching staff on how they develop players and reward them as well. So much deserving to Reggie Gilliam. Let him be, you know, continue to be an inspiration for those who that don't get drafted. I mean, it's another one on this team, and Jalen Weidemeyer from out of Texas A&M. So you know, to be continued.
And, and that's not the only thing about Reggie Gilliam too. It wasn't just undrafted. He's also a walk-on at Toledo. So you're talking about a guy who walked on to, unlike a Baker Mayfield who we talked about before, who walked on to a big program like Texas Tech, Oklahoma. Toledo's not in, as far as the big spectrum of things, it's in the MAC. It's not one of the biggest programs in the country. But for him to walk on there and then to walk on to pretty much be an undrafted free agent and come to the Bills, kudos to him. And, it really angered me. I'm with you, James, on the football ignorance point, right? So we posted on Cold Front, and so many comments of why. Well, why did we give him extension? What does he do? He doesn't even play. Are you sure he doesn't play? Because last season he played 77% of your special team snaps. I'm going to repeat that. 77% of your special team snaps last season. Brandon Beane is on record for saying for the last since pretty much since Beane and McDermott got here, of the importance of special teams and that they will put an emphasis on special teams. That's why you have Tyler Matakevich on this roster. That's why you saw them just pay Seren Neal $12 million. That's why you saw them draft the Tyler Bass. That's why you saw them draft the Matt Ariza. Because they're putting the emphasis on special teams. And the second part of that is, right, I have to say, how in the hell can we as a fan base, and this is not for everybody, but there's a few, how the hell can we as a fan base bang the table for Steve Tasker, a career special teamer, to be in the Hall of Fame, but then you ask, why did we give extension to Reggie Gilliam? Make it make sense to me.
It won't make sense. They're emotional. It's all emotional.
I was just talking to Steve Tasker about, him being in the Hall of Fame, and, he broke down how, it all began. But I was like, I do get that. It was some guys that set the bar before you, but you changed the game. Like, you were like the first, like, the defensive of special teams. You know what I mean? Like, the gunners. Like he played gunners so well, they had to put him in the Pro Bowl. Like, that wasn't a position, in the Pro Bowl. I mean, you had your kick return specialists and stuff like that, but you never had your defender as far as special teams go. Now they send one guy, the top gunner. Obviously, he makes the Pro Bowl. So I'm like, it's right. I don't understand how Steve Tasker isn't in the Hall of Fame. Him and Devin Hester, they should be in the Hall of Fame right now. I just don't understand why they're not.
You know my stance on that. I personally, I don't believe that most special teamers shouldn't be in Hall of Fame. But that's just my personal belief. Nothing against Steve, nothing against Devin. But like you were saying, James, like, the point being is, you're as a Bills Mafia fan base, we bang the table every year for Steve Tasker to make the Hall of Fame. Yet, one of your core special teamers on your 2022 team, which has been the best team since Steve Tasker played, right? We ask, why is he getting an extension? He doesn't even play. Steve Tasker didn't play either.
Well, like I said, it's emotion. A lot of people don't look at football. Fantasy football that ruined a lot of people's minds. When you look at special teams, a lot of fans don't pay attention to special teams until they lose them a game. And then they complain, our special teams suck. But you care about it for 11 and a half months. Now you care about it on this Sunday? And I've been pounding the table for a returner. If we don't handle that, it's going to cost us a game. And as you see, On the first depth chart. I'm just saying, it don't make up this first
He
depth
did.
chart. I'm just saying.
He did. He said it. But no, it just angered me, man, because I'm like, here's a kid. He comes in, he does anything you ask for him. He allows you to not give a position on your roster to a traditional fullback, right? We don't have to dedicate a spot like we used to have to dedicate to Pat DeMarco, that we had to dedicate to a Mike Tober, that we had to dedicate to a Frank Summers. You know what I mean?
Time out, JT. We good friends. Did you really have to mention Mike Tober? Did you have to do that to us as fans?
But they dedicated a position to him on the roster.
They did.
But I'm just saying they dedicated a position to him on the active roster. What I'm saying about Reggie Gilliam, because of his versatility, to your point before, is he allows you to do multiple things. He allows you to, keep someone on the roster who can actually play a fullback role, right? And mind you, when our running game got going at the end of last season, when McDermott stuck his foot up Brian Daboll's you-know-what to make him run the football, Reggie Gilliam was on the field a lot, leading for a lot of those runs. Okay? But he also allows you to do another thing, I think, this year. If you don't want to hold a third tight end spot on this roster, Reggie Gilliam can also play your third tight end spot. That saves a whole roster spot in a team that's this deep, where, James, you are asking for a return specialist. That allows you to do that. Muki, anything on this before we move on?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I had to sidebar with Brandon Bean because it's about that time, and what's going to be the plan on who stays, who goes, how many personnel groupings are you going to keep? And I had to ask you because I'm still want to know. I asked him what's the magic number for receivers, and he was leaning towards 7, and then he said it was really up to how many tight ends we keep this year. So and with a guy like Gilliam, he's a tight end because he plays multiple roles. As an H-back, a guy that can play tight end and fullback. He does that. If you've been to camp, see what he's doing out there. So he could be that fourth tight end per se. I say the Bills keep 3 tight ends, with Reggie Gilliam being a fourth. As far as roster concerns. So you have to stay tuned. I guess that's another topic of discussion. Projected roster breakdown.
Yeah, I mean we gonna have to get to that. I figure I know James want to do it tonight, but I think probably give it a week after the first preseason game, then we'll get to it next week and see, because I've been thinking about that all week. I'm not gonna lie. I've been trying to play the numbers game. Are we keeping 9 defense in? Are we keeping 8? And you're trying to share. Hey, are we keeping Tywan Jones this year on the roster, or can we put Nick McLeod as that other gunner this year to lose that other spot? You know what I mean?
That's what it's gonna be something.
It's gonna be some stuff to talk about. So, but either way, like I said, man, I just want to give one more round of applause to our guy Reggie Gilliam for getting his extension, and much love to him, man. He earned it, he deserved it, and like Luke said earlier, man, that could be inspiration to a lot of kids out here, that you can make it out of any situation. So, much love to him. But I want to get into just some regular camp notes this week. Muki, I'm going to pick your brain on some things that you have seen this week at camp, and James will chime in after he's give us his little breakdown. So, Mook, you got the floor. Give me 3 or 4 things that you've seen at camp this week. Maybe some position battles, anything, performances, stock up, stock down. What you got?
This may come as a shock
to
everybody in Bills Mafia world, right? I'm going to wait till, I'm going to say it now, but I'm going to give him one preseason game. But look, that's when I let me know. Bobby Hart is going to make the roster.
What have I been telling everybody? He's not that JT.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. He's at guard now, though, right?
Right now he's been, if Stafford's out, as far as what, he was getting the reps at left guard.
And he's looking better at left guard than he did left
In
tackle.
certain phases, Safford was out there, but they've been tinking around with that guard, and but I mean, shit, he's been out there, and he's on special teams and stuff like that. So they love that player flexibility, and right now Bobby Hart is giving them that, but we just got to see when they're going against another team.
Yeah,
That's what I really want to see. I have some ideas. We already know who wide receiver number 3 is. We don't need a preseason game to know who's the number 3 receiver right now.
Isaiah McKenzie,
that position battle now turns to Crowder and Khalil Shakur
for number 4, right?
I've been carefully just watching just that cycle when we know McKenzie just separated herself, between. So now that number 4 receiver is between Crowder and Khalil Shakur. So it's gonna be quite interesting to see how much does Jamison Crowder plays in preseason games.
Yeah.
We know McKenzie and those ones, they ain't gonna be playing too much. So Crowder's gonna probably play. Crowder, Khalil, they're gonna get a lot of reps Saturday. No Stevenson, so you got those position battles, and then I mean it's a juicy race right now between Kumaro and Isaiah Haskins. He's been pretty solid as well. But the difference is between Kumaro is he give you more because he plays special teams. So it's gonna be tough. Like I said, Brandon B, what's your magic number? He said 7, but it depends on the tight ends. Let's not forget, who's gonna return punts. So right now, Tavon Austin, is in the driver's seat, I can say, for now. He's in the driver's seat for now. If he just messes up, during the preseason game or whatever, then, he's the veteran. So I'm giving him the edge just because of that. You know what I mean? So, those are some things I'm seeing on the offensive side. On the defensive side of things, Christian Benford, like all the draft picks has flashed at some point, other than Tenuta. Tenuta, he's 6'9", so you don't need to flash when you're 6'9". He's a development project. But other than that, Spector and flash, Khalil's flashed, the punter has flashed, Baylor has flashed, Florida has flashed, Georgia has flashed. All right, so all his draft picks has flashed at some point. So it's going to be very hard, to see who really makes this roster, man. They can only keep 53 of them, and 46 of them are going to be suited up.
Is it 46 or 48 now? Is it 48 now?
Is it 48 that's active?
I think it's 48 now because I thought it was 46. I know for the longest time it was 46. And me and James were talking about this. The Mud Dog told me, I think it's 48 now. And he sent me a roster that had 48 people in it from last season. So, I mean, I think they may have upped it 2 spots.
Okay, yeah. Well,
that makes a big difference, though.
Hell yeah, make a big difference. 2 extra bodies.
But so obviously, going for your point, Muki, the Bills released their depth chart today, and I didn't see too many surprises. I don't know if James, if you guys got I know Muki, you probably saw it. James, did you get to review the depth chart today?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Okay. I mean, the only thing on the depth chart that really stood out to me as probably was like, oh my, that's a shocker, was probably Quesenberry over Spencer Brown at this point in time. That was probably the only thing that really stood out to me. Now, everything else I thought was pretty right on line, besides, the Matt Hack getting the nod at punter, which we know that Matt Hack is not. I mean, listen, Matt Hack is not going to make this roster. Okay, but either way, neither here or there. The only thing that stood out to me was Quesenberry over Spencer Brown. Now, James, any shockers to you? Any surprises? Anything you didn't expect to see? Anything that you were looking for?
They moved Nick McLeod to safety.
Oh,
no longer corner. He's a safety. That tells me he's going to make this roster. Because if you moved him positions, you don't move positions to cut him. You move positions to make room for him numbers-wise. He's going to be on special teams. He's going to be in the equation somewhere. And don't forget, they probably moved him because Jordan Poyer isn't practicing right now, right? So guess what? He's probably the second. He's probably running with Muki's bet Nick McLeod's running a lot with the twos right now. And probably sprinkle him in with the starters a little bit as well. So
Well,
That,
you know what? On your statement, remember they said when the first Poyer mini camp holdout, if you want to call it that,
that's when they moved
McLeod.
them. They started to sprinkle them in there.
Right, exactly. So, and I'm not surprised. Like I said, I still think he's going to end up also being your second gunner this year.
Yeah. Yeah, that one got me. I was excited to see Tavon Austin. With that number one spot. I'm trying to think it was another one that stood out. Oh, and Duke Williams was the fourth running back. That
Oh,
was
Duke Johnson. Yeah, yep, Duke.
Duke Johnson. I'm sorry, wrong Duke.
It's all
Johnson.
good. We've had a lot of them over the
That
past 10 years.
Yeah, that one surprised me. I'm like, So, we'll see how that play out. It was pretty interesting. The Spencer Brown thing, I think that's more because he got hurt. I think that's more thing like the light of fire under him. I don't think. I mean, Bear, I think he's gonna make the roster, but
yeah. Muki, any surprise? Anything stood out to you on this depth chart?
Not exactly. I mean, nothing really like stood out. I mean, is what basically you've been seeing in practice. You know what I mean, all week. Few wrinkles of it, but no surprises, no really crazy surprises. I mean, when you even look at the Questenberry situation, here it is, Questenberry. He is a veteran. Spencer Brown has been dealing with injuries, and you only got Questenberry for 1 year, right? So right now, yeah, I'm gonna throw him in that sauce. He's a veteran guy. You don't have to rush Spencer Brown back from whatever minor, back surgery he had. You want that to completely heal and get rest. But in the meantime, in between time, you got, a guy that could, hold it down until Spencer Brown becomes completely healthy. And then again, it's only one season that Questenberry is here. So next year, Spencer Brown will be the starting right tackle, unless Questenberry want to run it back after, they do what they're supposed to do this year.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, back to Questenberry, it's a guy who actually started 17 games last year as well. So that it doesn't come as much as a surprise. But like I said, one thing I did say last week when we were on air was that Isaiah McKenzie would be your starting kick returner at the start of the season. And I'm holding true that I think he's going to be your kick returner. But on that depth chart, what I did see was Duke Johnson was also lifted, as you said, James, as your fourth running back, but he's also listed as your backup kick returner, and I believe he's your third punt returner. But behind him on kick return in the third slot was James Cook. So that's telling me right there that, hey, if Isaiah McKenzie struggles any little bit at this kick return role, I think you're going to end up seeing James Cook take that role over before the season ends.
I'm wondering if he is going to be a number 3. I still think it's probably more of a battle than what we think. With Crowder and him for the third number 3 spot. Obviously, McKenzie's winning that right now. We know that. But do you have your number 3 a slot where you run a lot of 10 or 11 personnel? Do you have him as your main kick returner? Kind of wondering that.
I didn't think about that. I mean, that's an interesting question. Actually. I mean, you could. I just think that, like I said, I know a lot of people are expecting James Cook to take a lot of carries this year. I personally don't see it. When I was at camp a couple of days, and it's not a knock on him because he needs a year of NFL weight training. You know what I mean? Especially as a running back. He didn't have many carries at Georgia either. When he hits the line of scrimmage, when those big guys get their hands on him, it's usually like, man.
But he was brought here to be a weapon, and this is why I wanted to, people pissed me off when they was like, we don't want to need a running back. No, you need to surround Josh Allen with weapons. James Cook is a weapon. He's not just a running back. He's a weapon. Mookie could tell you better. He probably seen him all over the place. The dude is a weapon. You want to surround Josh Allen with just weapons everywhere, and that's what he is. He's a weapon.
You never lied about that because James Cook is moved all around the place. And I don't know. I don't think that I wouldn't put him on kick return because to me, he's in the sauce on offense. Both ways and one. All right, he's in the sauce. So you don't really want to risk that. And then during the scrimmage, he got the return and he got smacked too. So I don't know him to be, doing that. And McKenzie, he's a veteran. So I'm comfortable with him returning kicks more than I am him receiving a punt. So if Tywan Jones would make the roster, I would say those two guys, or Duke Johnson and McKenzie on the kickoff return, Tavon on the punt return.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. Like I said, that kick returner spot is very interesting. It's been something that has been unsettled since the absence of Andre Roberts. And I actually want to read a comment here. Our guy Anthony Farrell, appreciate you, my guy. He gives us a little bit of information here. So under the 2011 CBA, teams were allowed to dress 46 players from their 53-man roster for a game. Under the new deal, they can dress 47. They can also dress a 48th player as long as the game day roster includes at least 8 offensive linemen. So, look like we'll be carrying 8 offensive linemen this year. But, there was other news this week. Obviously, our buddy there, Cole Beasley, before we get to our Odell Beckham situation. Our friend Cole Beasley, once again, was running off at his mouth. And if you guys have been watching me for the last year, you guys know how I feel about Cole Beasley at this point in time and his tweets in his mouth. And I thought we were gone and away from this, but apparently we are not, because Cole is unemployed and has nothing better to do at this point in time. So I will read this off for you as I pretend to bash Cole Beasley once again. Cole Beasley tweets, "I appreciate the fans who supported me. The most fun I've ever had playing football in Buffalo. My family and I will never forget the memories. Love all my teammates there. I won't regret leaving, though. Things changed within the organization, and it was time for me to move on." Yeah. Okay, Cole. Nice way to try to make it seem like you moved on, and the team wasn't already moving in a different direction. But that's fine. If that's what you want to believe, you can have that. Kudos to you. This goes further than a vaccination or not having a vaccination with him, right? It goes to the point where, I said last year, he became a distraction. He started to become a locker room cancer. And for that is the main reason that the Bills were never going to bring him back last offseason. I don't care if he had 900 yards last season. He was never going to don a Buffalo Bills jersey in 2023 because of that. The 2022-23 season. No one ever knocked him for his vaccination stuff. I don't think many people knocked any of the Bills. Most of us fans didn't care. It's like, hey, if you're not, do your best to not get sick or whatever, or stay out of harm's way if you can. You know what I mean? But this guy right here took this whole thing and made it about him. And honestly, from the moment he got here in Buffalo, he tried to make it about him, but he just kind of contained himself, because if you remember, when he signed with Buffalo, he kept going at Dallas over and over and over again. And I think somebody in the front office said something to him, and he stopped tweeting. He kind of disappeared off Twitter, if you guys remember that correctly. So I'm starting to believe that he's a guy who has a chip on his shoulder and turns into a me guy. And that's fine, whatever. Just at this point, dude, do us a favor. Shut up. We don't care. Shut up. I'm tired of Cole Beasley. James, I'll let you take the floor in this one.
I mean, Cole is Cole. I don't really got much to say about it. I mean, you always got people like that no matter what it is, it's always gonna be it could be the best situation in the world, but it's gonna be a but there. You're gonna throw a negative comment. I don't even think nobody paying them no attention at this point in time. Let's move on. We got McKenzie there, Crowder here. We good.
Go sign with the Jets. Muki?
I mean, hey, he missed every helmet in that locker room, but he don't regret leaving, though. So that's a contradiction, right? So
right, it doesn't even make any sense.
So I mean, there's still some bitterness there. I'm quite sure he will still want to be here in Buffalo, especially, they didn't get one last year, and that was it for him. So it's not like you don't regret leaving, though. They told you that you can go and seek a trade, so it wasn't leaving. But it's the business part that I don't think a player would no player would ever would, I guess, like. especially if you feel that, I mean, how would you feel if the team don't want you back and they're on the Super Bowl run? Like, I mean, man, like, they kick you off the team and they're the favorite to win the Super Bowl. I ain't saying kick him off the team, but basically, yeah, it's what it is. I mean, now you're a Super Bowl contender. But he was part of the Bills' success. He was part of changing that culture. He was part of Josh Allen's development. But again, this is just the business side of it. And if you don't get that job done, the ultimate job done, you get that small window, you're on the wrong side of 30. Beasley, 33 years old?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's time. I mean, McKenzie, 6, 27?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's more dynamic. He can do a little bit more, with the ball in his hands. Beasley, you was catching the ball, but you wasn't giving us nothing after that. You're not going to outrun anybody. You're not going to make a guy miss. It was no run after the catch, with you. You was a possession slot receiver at, late in your career. When your backup come in and have a career day, better numbers than you didn't have all season long in the same offense, that's an issue. You got 11 catches, 125 yards, or 2 touchdowns, a touchdown?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how your backup come in and produce against the Patriots on all teams, by the way? How do you do that? It took the Bills 2 years to realize that. I mean, the year before he scored 3 touchdowns in one game, and y'all don't even give him. He don't touch the ball no more the rest of the season. You got no play set for him, nothing. So that's what I'm like. Hey, what y'all be doing? But tell you what, it wouldn't happen with Dorsey. Dorsey would have made sure McKinley was out there doing all types of stuff.
We already see the changes. We already see the changes. You know what I mean? They got their own problems in New York right now. Sometimes it ain't as easy being the captain of your own ship. You got fights. You got Bobby Johnson sucker punching offensive line, defensive linebackers. I wish the best for Brian Dable, man, but you got something in your hand. But no, back to Cole Beasley, man. It's just to the point where it's like, listen, dude, it's like you're the bitter ex-girlfriend, right? They allowed you to go seek your own trade, and the other 31 teams, nobody wanted you. It's now August 9th, first preseason game be played Saturday, and you ain't ran around route for a quarterback yet. Maybe you should worry. Maybe you have other things to worry about. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, nothing against him. What you're really upset about is that they let you go and they upgraded. Like I said, you're like the bitter ex-girlfriend. You're like the girlfriend that says, I think we need to go in different directions. And then you see me at the steakhouse with this baddie that's 10 times better than you. And that's what the Bills have right now. They have speed on McKenzie. You have a similar receiver in Crowder who may be potentially better than Beasley. And now you got this rookie Shakir who's turning heads. They're not missing a beat without you. So, hats off to you. Bon voyage. Don't let the door hit you in your ass on the way out. We don't care. Just stop talking about us. Just do what you gonna do. Go back to Dallas, go to the Jets, go to Miami, go to New England, go to Tampa with Tom. Go wherever you want to go, Cole. Just shut up. We don't care. So either way, moving on from this moron. And you guys know I don't like talking bad about players, but that's exactly what Cole Beasley. He's a moron. But moving on from him, Odell Beckham Jr. The rumors have popped up again. So obviously, if you guys have not been watching what's been happening, there was a second post now with Odell Beckham and Von Miller going back and forth and teasing a little bit. And Odell Beckham had to say this. Von Miller says, "I'm lit." Buffalo Bills respond with fire. Odell Beckham responds, "You been lit" at Von Miller. "What's the locker next to you look like with eyes?" Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. Question mark, question mark. Yeah. You know what? I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I said, we'll see. I think this actually has legs. I think this has legitimate legs on it. And, Mook, I'm going to come to you first. Odell Beckham Jr., Buffalo legs, possibility. What are we looking at? Not healthy till October, technically. So,
Yeah, definitely got legs. Definitely has legs. It definitely has legs. I mean, like you said, he ain't gonna be available till week 10, week 12, whatever. But
Hmm.
still, um, it's either the Rams or the Bills. Um, and then he gets to see both teams play. For at least 6 games to really see what fits him, especially where that team is money wise. Who knows? That Gillum move may have freed up some cap money that could be added to the Odell Beckham kitty for the 1 year, $4 million. Deal. I don't think that Odell Beckham is going to warn much on a 1 year
Uh-uh.
deal when he comes in. Um, that's what I'm looking more or less at. So, what team would you rather play for? A team that's in the driver's seat in the conference. Probably let's say the Bills are 8-2 or whatever the case. You were to go play with a team that's 8-2, that's on top for a home field advantage in the driver's seat at this point early in the season, than opposed to a Rams team that could be 6-4.
Right.
So
I
he'll
mean,
get that option
yeah.
down the line to really see how these two teams playing out and what makes the most money sense for him. And choose wisely. But you can't go to Tampa Bay, because they just snatched Julio, just went there, locked that spot up.
Well, he might. You
So
never know.
he's
Julio may
not
be
going to
gone
join
by then.
Kansas City. They deep at receiver. And the Bills are deep at receiver, but they really not deep at receiver. So
Right.
it's definitely some room for OBJ to get some catches.
Mallory, OBJ, Buffalo. What are you thinking?
I think it has legs. Is it 2 legs or 4 legs? I don't know. But I think a dark horse team, Chargers.
Okay.
But
That
I
makes a
think,
lot of sense.
like Muki said, the Rams or the Bills will make the most sense to me. But I don't know. You like that LA life, the Chargers? That could be an option for him. That
Yeah.
could be an option for him.
That makes a lot of sense. So my thoughts on this is this. I think that this legitimately have legs. A couple weeks ago I told you it's more hearsay. But when you really look at it, to both of you guys' points, right? Especially yours, Mookie, where you said they're deep, but they're not really that deep. If you can have and this is specifically for a playoff run, because obviously, we're talking deep in the season. The guy, he's not going to be full go until October. Let's keep that in mind. Would you want to have a deep playoff run with Odell Beckham or Isaiah McKenzie and Jameson Crowder? The truth is, you can have them all at this point in time. There's nothing stopping you from getting Odell Beckham and having those other two guys. This is a guy that we just saw last in the Super Bowl who had an incredible first half and probably was on his way to the Super Bowl MVP. And when he went down, it literally changed the whole dynamic of the game, leaving that window for the Bengals to actually kind of take over, and actually were probably one bad defensive holding call from winning that Super Bowl game because his presence was not there anymore. Odell Beckham definitely makes his team better. And as the narrative of the whole offseason has been surround Josh Allen with weapons. What is Odell Beckham going to command on the market? May have to outbid somebody a little bit, but probably not much. He's only going to go to a contending team. That's the part he's at. He's not going to take some 1-year deal for $8 million with someone. So let's just say someone like the Bears. He's not going to take a deal like that. That's not what he's going for. You could probably get Odell Beckham for a 1-year, $4 million deal, like you said, Mookie, with $2.5 of the million or $3 of the million being incentive laden.
Less than that was prorated.
Well, it's got to have to be prorated because, like you said, he's not going to be healthy until October.
Well, that's probably when he's going to start really cutting and doing football activity is October.
Yeah.
Tore in February. If you,
Okay.
if we do the math, October is only 8 months. usually a lot of times they're like, hey, that's when they start cutting into a football activity.
Mm.
Hey, look at Trey Day. I mean, he tore his
November, Thanksgiving.
November, you know what I'm saying? And when we look at it right now, he's not even in pads right now. So there's no guarantee he'll be healthy by then. He may not be healthy until really ready to roll until December.
Right.
Yeah. No, it makes a whole lot of sense. And like I said, this has nothing to do. This is not a salary cap issue. If the Bills want to bring Odell Beckham Jr. in, this has nothing to do with a salary cap. We're not even talking about that. Like you said, James, this is going to be a prorated deal, and he's probably not really even playing until right before the playoffs. If I'm Buffalo, I'm gonna make this move. A year ago, I may not have made this move. 2 years ago, I definitely would have made this move. Now I'm making it because the pressure's on. The clock is ticking. You have a Super Bowl window right now, this second, and it can close in the next 2 years. They can close shut real fast. I'm making this move if I have to. The point is just to make that you want to make this offense unstoppable. And I think Odell Beckham, adding a James Cook, adding a O.J. Howard, then if you added all that around Josh Allen, then why stop without adding Beckham for a little or nothing? That's just the way I see it. I'm going to go fully loaded. I'm going to have every bullet in the chamber when I get to playoff time. That's the way I see it.
I mean, imagine a 5 receivers set. Jamison Crowder, Isaiah McKenzie, OBJ, Stephon Diggs, and Game James. Just your empty set with 5 true wide receivers.
Yeah.
That's that.
Yeah. Plus, he also gives you versatility where certain teams are going to play certain coverages. And James, I want you to speak on this. You can swap him out for McKenzie. There's certain things that McKenzie's going to be able to do better. There's going to be certain things that Odell Beckham's going to always be able to do better. What's the versatility of the offense of adding him?
If you're at OBJ, I mean, it's a lot. What I think will be dangerous if you you bring out, okay, you got Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis. You go Isaiah McKenzie, and then you go OBJ, right? That's your 4 receiver set. You got James Cook in the backfield. Now, with personnel sets, defenses, they make their substitutions based off of who's in, right? So you're going to have extra linebacker in because you got a running back there. But if you motion out James Cook into an empty set, you mean to tell me you're literally going to have a linebacker trying to run with James Cook? Mookie, you've been coaching football for a long time. That's a bad thing. So now you're the coordinator. You're in a position like, okay, damn. They roll James Cook out here. Do I bring a linebacker? Do I keep a linebacker on the field, or do I put a DB out there? I mean, that's a hell of a position to be in. And then don't forget, you still got the element of Josh being the threat to run the ball. So that's a matchup night. When you just think about that, that's crazy. That's crazy.
So let me ask you: if you had this opportunity to make this move, let's just say it's October. Let's say it's like October 7th. He's a couple weeks away from actually being run and cut. And then mind you, the reason I'm picking that date is because that will probably most likely be the weekend of the Mafia homecoming party. I'm going to give a little plug here because we're going to start putting all this stuff out, but that's probably going to be the weekend of it. Stay tuned for details. But let's just say it's that date particularly. Do you make this move if you're Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott?
It really is a feel of the team because you can sometimes too much. You can do too much. You put too much sugar in the pot, so to say, where it's like this is sweet, but it might be too sweet, right? So it's the chemistry thing with, and Mookie could talk about this from a coach's standpoint. You know, you can have so many studs. You add one more to the pot, it can bring on a headache. It can mess up the chemistry. It can mess up the morale of the team. Because now it's like, okay, you got a guy that may be balling, right? OBJ, and obviously, you know, it's going to take away opportunities from some people. And then now you got people like, damn, man, we 10-2 or 10-3. Well, man, now we mixing this up. I mean, you got to realize You know, it's not a video game. So you just got to see how your team feel. You got to have a pulse on the team, and go from there.
Mook, you doing it?
Is what OBJ doable? What I do?
No, are you making this move for your Brandon Bean and Sean McDermott?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, week 12 or week 10, you should understand what your team is at this point. I mean, if you think that this is going to take your team over the top, or you just at this point, hey, I want to sign this guy because I'd rather have this guy on my roster for the remainder of this season than to potentially play against this guy in the Super Bowl or in a playoff or something like that. So yeah, I'll definitely lock OBJ up for the remainder of this year, so I won't have to have that problem on the opposite side of me, because if you don't, you may see him down the line, and I mean, it really don't matter. But like James said, I want to stack weapons. I mean, I want to make you understand that you're not going to be able to scheme for me, because I'm going to have too many weapons to choose from. You cannot double everybody, and I got guys that could beat your guy, that can win their battle, and I have that in more ways than one. So you're going to be clueless of what I could do with this offense with all these weapons. It's just going to be too hard for a team to try to scheme for. So yes, I would definitely bring OBJ in for the last quarter of the season for this postseason run.
You talking about even a Super Bowl run? You're probably talking about 6 games.
$3.5 million guaranteed. I won't give you nothing incentive later to where he got to produce his contract, because once again, that is going to create friction. It's going to try to break the chemistry, because he's going to be more or less worried about reaching those incentives and getting targets and stuff like that, other than just concentrating on your role on helping this team win a Super Bowl. So I just gave him $3.5 million straight out. If it's week 12, give me $3.5-4 million for the remainder of the season, fully guaranteed. We ain't giving you no incentives. We just need you here to be an asset with this group for the remainder of this season. We're not paying you, an extra $1 million if you get X amount of catches in 4 games. We're not going to do it. You know what I mean? So there's no pressure on nobody for Odell to get his targets, more or less. We already got that as step. You know what I mean? Can't have 2 people complain to quarterback about targets. Only one. And that's Stephon Diggs. And you don't have to complain, because he gets over 100 of them in practice. I mean, during the course of the season, every season by far in the Bills uniform. So I'm definitely snatching OB. You know what I mean? The more star power, the better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I understand. I understand exactly what you're saying, James, too, about as far as too much sugar in the pot, man. But you gonna have to just give me my insulin, brother, because I'm taking. I'm taking this, my man. You gonna have to just. I'm making this move, man, because like I said, I ain't letting him go to the Chiefs or someone like that. I'm not going to do it. And if he a headache, I'm just going to deactivate him then and move on. But I'm not letting him get to a rival. I'm just not. I just can't do it. But no, like I said, it's very interesting, and I do think this has legs. And I generally do believe that Odell Beckham, in his heart of heart at this point in time, wants to be a Buffalo Bill. And it's fun to see, because Buffalo is cool. Playing for Buffalo is real cool right now. And playing with Josh Allen is even cooler. So, and this is a nice problem to have, to say, hey, do we have a spot for a former superstar? It's a nice thing, a nice little ring to it. But either way, moving on, we'll see what happens. We'll see what transpires. As Brandon Bean has always said, he leaves no stone unturned. So we're gonna see if he's gonna turn the stone or turn the page on Odell Beckham as we near closer to his return date, which should be sometime in October, I believe. So either way, moving on, we're gonna take some questions now, and go ahead, feel free to put your questions in the chat, and we'll get to some of them. We got probably about another 5 to 7 minutes left in this show, and yeah. So first question is. Cody Wells has, how has Kaiir Elam been adjusting? I'm Muki, you're at camp. I'll let you answer that. I know I read the notes from a couple of people, but Kaiir Elam.
Kyrie's he's been balling. I mean, he's been balling. I like what I see out of the draft pick. I think he was worth the draft pick. He's just exactly what the Bills are looking for. I mean, he's aggressive, so that's a plus. It's feisty, what I mean. I was talking with Tre'Davious about him, and I was saying, he's feisty, what I mean. Just like a guy I know his rookie year, and Tre'Davious was like, yeah, you got to be like that in this league, and he's going, he's going to do quite well for himself. So he gets to get that vote of confidence from guys like Tre'Davious, right? Because he is like Big Bro right now on the sideline coaching those guys up. And he's not been shying away from the competition between Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, even though he's been losing majority of those battles.
As he should at this point.
He's losing majority of those battles, but he's been there step for step, and that's only going to make him better when he's up against everybody else. When you're going up against probably the best duo, one of the top duos that's soon to be in the NFL, and Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs. So I like what I see out of Kyer. He's physical. He sets the edge in run support. And he has that length to go out and make plays, especially inside the red zone, matched up against taller wide receivers. And he's only going to get better. They had to put the boxing glove on his ass one day because he's big grabby. But I remember they did that with Tre'Davious too. So he got to learn where to grab instead of just being a little bit loose with it. So they put the boxing gloves on him, and that's why I said, how many teams does that? The Bills, they develop you. They develop you the right way. They make sure, they address your weaknesses, turn it into a strength, so it isn't a weakness anymore. And then by year 3, this guy has just arrived on the scene, making plays and making them name for himself, just like everybody else they had on his roster. So Kyer's been good. Kyer's good.
Now, Mallory, we were talking about this other day, and I know we were having a little debate there about, obviously we have a gauntlet for the first 5 games of the season, right? Well, we would call that a gauntlet to start the season. It's a tough schedule. We're going back and forth of, do you sign Joe Hayden to bring him in? Do you start Dane and Kyer? If you do bring in a Joe Hayden, if Tre'Davious White is not ready, I see your question, Howland. We're going to get to that one because that's a very important question. Is it better to let him take his lumps? And I know you're for let him play. He's at the cornerback. He's going to have to play. But then you look at the schedule, and it's kind of scary a little bit. You know what I mean? So what do you think on that topic?
You got to let him play. Eventually, he's going to have to get the reps.
Mm-hmm.
Why keep prolonging? Let him play. We know we got in Jackson. Let him play. If it's a situation where he's just struggling ridiculously that's not the way it sounds, then you'll bring that in. I think that's being overcautious.
Okay.
I think you want to just let him play the ball, especially at corner. Corner is in a position to use east somebody in. Let him play.
Makes sense. You got it here. All right. So we got another question from my man Josh Arnold on YouTube. What's going on, Josh? Thank you for tuning in tonight. He says, who's going to win the punt return, quick kick return job? I'll go first. I do think Isaiah McKenzie is going to be your kick returner for the beginning of the season. Obviously, I don't think we're going to have many chances of a kick returner like most teams around the league. As far as punt returner, I know James is saying Tavon Austin. I'm still thinking that Shakir is going to steal that job. That's just me personally. James, I'll come to you next since, kick return, punt return, who do you think's going to win it?
Tavon Austin with the kick returns.
Mm-hmm.
Punt returns, I'm sorry. And right now I'm at to say McKenzie on the kick returns.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if he keeps balling the way he's balling in camp and his role grow, you got to pull that responsibility from him. But I just can't see this team putting such big responsibility on the rookie. Because a muff punt or a block punt changes the game quicker than anything. Anything.
Yeah.
If you can put that responsibility on the rookie, I just that happening.
It's gonna be interesting. Mook, who you got winning kick return, punt return duties?
Well, kick return is Isaiah McKenzie. it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this battle really shakes out now. Scenarios. Bills go 7 wide receivers, and that seventh one, if Tavon Austin, then Tavon Austin will be your kick returner. Now, if the Bills decide to choose Isaiah Hodgins, then Shakur will be your punt returner. That's the only scenarios I'm thinking, because it's still a tight race, in with these receivers, because Hodgkins has been getting reps with the ones with Josh and them. So you got to look at all that stuff and take it into consideration that this guy is getting reps with the ones. So he's been getting a rep with the ones. He's been having a solid camp too, but now it's all about the games and how you perform in these games. So watch carefully to all these position battles that we're talking about tonight. And maybe you'll have a little bit of that answer after Saturday's game.
Yeah. All right. Next question is from my man Mahal. Do we know when Trey's coming back? I talked to Trey the other day, actually, right after our practice. I talked to him coming out of the medical tent or whatever, and now he was injured that day, just getting taped up, or whatever. And he said he feels good. He feels healthy. But like I said, I don't think they're going to rush him back. I don't think they're going to do that. So if I had to take a stab at it, I'm probably going to circle week 3 or 4. That's where I'm going to circle. Probably week 4 would be the week I would circle. Muki, what do you think?
When do the Bills go on the bye? Week 7?
Yep.
I can check it out for you. Hold on.
I think it's week 7.
I'm pretty sure it's like week 7 though.
Week 7, right?
I'm gonna make sure.
Yeah, so I would say, just to be on the safe side, right after the bye, week 8.
You think that long? You think
precautionary? I mean,
yeah.
When you look at this, just to answer that Joe Hayden question too, right? When you look at this, Bills do a good job of developing. So Christian Benford has been solid enough to hold off any type of Joe Hayden signing, I guess. But again, we're going to see when these games come on, and you see that D-line getting after that quarterback, and those DBs making plays, because the quarterback is not going to have 4 seconds to throw that ball. I don't care who's out there on the Bills' defensive line. It's just Von's not going to play, so you're going to probably see Espinoza and Russo is going to start off that edge. And then you're going to see Boogie in, you're going to see Shaq in, then you're going to see Mike Love in there. All those guys can get after the quarterback. I ain't even get to the interior portion of it, So just the pass rushers that the Bills have, they're going to get after that quarterback. So I mean, only thing the defense got to do is stick with their man for at least 3 seconds to be ready to make a play on the ball too. So it's going to be a different dynamic on how this defensive line change this team's identity. You know what I mean? Because they're going to be getting after the quarterback. They're going to be wreaking havoc over the quarterback. And it's going to allow Tremaine Edmonds to have a breakout season once again. So I don't think it's no rush. If the defense can do that, it's no rush. I mean, because, again, they didn't have Trey White for the second half of the season, and you just, in some phases of the game, you forget that he wasn't playing. The way the Bills defense was playing so good. You forget that Trey wasn't even out there. So if that can happen and the Bills understand that and identify that, they feel they can get away with holding Trey back at least till after the bye week. So if that's the case, see Tre'Davious White week 8.
James.
I totally agree with Muki. I said for that he took the word on. I was saying week 8. Like, why bring him back week 4? Why? Play 2 games, bring him back after the bye, and roll with it.
All right. They're wrong with it. Now, mind you, if they're 2-2 come week 4 and your defense is struggling, do you accelerate the process a little bit here? No.
Nah. Not
You really think that's gonna happen? Now they was a
No,
battle
I
last
don't. I
week
don't think it's gonna happen. I'm just
without Miller.
I'm just being I'm just being hypothetical here. I know I don't think that's gonna happen, but I'm just being hypothetical here. Just saying.
Josh Allen don't have time to throw, so he ain't got time to throw. Now one day he had all day. He was throwing. He was diving boys, but the defense been kicking ass this training camp. You know, the offense only won a few days. You know, I say they probably won majority of the fights though, but you know, other than that.
All right. Next question from Major Cole. How's Terrell Bernard looking out there, and does he have the potential to take someone's spot down the line, possible Edmund trade? Now, me and James, we've been talking about this the last 40 hours, we've been talking about this a lot. I'm going to let Mook talk about, you know, how Terrell Bernard is looking, because he got a first-hand look. I saw him the other day in coverage. He actually was pretty strong in coverage. I was there, 2 camp days I was there. But as far as him potentially taking someone's spot down the line, he has the potential to take Matt Milano's spot. I mean, Matt Milano's going to have what? How many more years left on his deal? Is it 1 year or 2 more years left on his deal now?
3.
No, he don't got 3. He had, because he only signed for 3 years.
No, he signed 4.
Did he sign 4?
Yeah, he had an extension, so it's 4 years.
Oh, that's right. It's an extension. Okay, that's right. So that's the spot I'm circling that he can check. He could possibly take over. Now I know they have him listed as backup middle linebacker on the depth chart. I personally believe if anything was to happen, Tremaine Edmonds, we're gonna knock on wood, we won't see that happen, that Tyrell Dodson would slide over to that middle backer spot. But Mook, I'll let you come to you. What do you think about Terrell Bernard? How's he looking out there? And second part of this question, does Bernard have a chance to take someone's spot down the line?
He have a chance to take Milano's spot. I mean, because if Milano goes down, Bernard is going to be out there. You know, Dotson will be obviously that guy to replace Tremaine. And Tremaine obviously will go down, but Dotson is not going to. He's not pushing Tremaine for his position, none whatsoever. But again, you know, Milano is, you know, the guy that's under the microscope now with this defense because, you know, you do have the contract, and you know, if you're not producing, then you know you're a liability, and if you're a liability, then you know you could be a cap casualty. You know, you're getting, you know, if you stay healthy, I mean, you know, he has an opportunity, but you know, if he's still battling injuries and you know he's not covering, whenever you know a quarterback from the opposing team says no disrespect to Milano, but when I seen him matched up against my guy 1-on-1. I know he can't beat my guy. I'm my guy. So that's basically saying Matt Milano cannot check Travis Kelce. So we better not be having Matt Milano covering Travis Kelce because Patrick Mahomes is definitely going to be going at that. He see that matchup, then he's checking right to that. And that's just letting y'all know how the NFL works. It's just like Little League. It's the same damn thing. I see my guy matched up against Levi Wallace. I'm going to throw to him too. All right, so that's just how that works. And if we still continue to give them that look while playing them, they're going to keep exploiting that. And we're not. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, baby. You know what I mean? But I think Bernard has the opportunity to, you know, to unsee him. He definitely has a lot of. He's going to be beating the running back in the hole for the line of scrimmage. He has tackle for loss potential. I give you that. He has an instinct to slither between, you know, in those trenches and slice through. You know, he knows how to blitz. You know, he knows how to blitz, and that's rare. You know, I mean, coming from a rookie, he had those type of instincts, and he's shown that throughout training camp. So, you know, I can't wait to see them actually play and fly around and make plays, and then you know we'll see if you know all that stuff is the real deal. We're going to see who's real and who's fake. Definitely on Saturday. It's going to change the perception. Some people's stock is going to be up. Some people's stock is going to be down come Saturday.
And just one extra tidbit on James. Did I come to you for this already?
No.
Okay. One extra tidbit before I move on to James with this is Matt Milano next year. His deal starts to his cap number goes to $13 million, but post June 1st cut or trade, $10 million saving, about 2.5 dead. So you do the math right there.
You took my whole take. My idea is this. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm thinking now. I looked at this earlier. Looked at this about a half hour before the show. Terrell Bernard, you start to groom him, right? You pay Tremaine Edmonds this year, right? Down the road, you got to pay Ed Oliver. So my thing was you got to pick between the two. But if you cut Milano, you can pay Edmonds and Ed Oliver.
Yeah.
And Bernard is your. That's my thought process with it.
Yeah. It makes like he wasn't drafted for no reason, okay? He wasn't just drafted because this is a linebacker we can play on special teams. There's a contingency plan here. And if we learn anything about Brandon Beane, there's a plan A, there's a plan B, and when you get past plan B, guess what? With Brandon Beane, there's probably a plan C as well. So we'll stay tuned on that.
Yeah, I mean, he is the highest linebacker they ever drafted, right? This is the highest they took a linebacker
since Edmonds.
McDermott Harris, the third round, right? Name.
Well, since Edmonds.
Well, yeah, Edmonds first.
Yeah, since Edmonds, yeah.
First. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This is the highest. So, like I said, he ain't, just like James Cook ain't here for no reason, he's not here for no reason. Let's better believe it. And then we'll take one more question, and then we'll get out of here, man. Cody Wells asked, can you attest to the strong camp that the other rookie is apparently having? Been seeing posts. I think he's about Christian Beneford.
Yeah. Man, I mean, like I said, the Bills had a hell of a draft class. Here it is, Christian Benford, 6'1", 6'2", 205 pounds from out of Villanova. 14 interceptions. All right? 14 interceptions. Very productive. I don't care if it's FCS, FBS, CBS, PBS. I don't care. You got, double digits in picks in the collegiate level, you can play. So, I mean, he's out there battling with the best of them. And, again, he's going to make this roster. And this is a clear reason why we're not bringing in Joe Hayden. They experienced bringing in the pricey veteran and on a Super Bowl quest. And, it didn't work with Josh Norman. So they learned from that, that issue. Again, the Bills do a good job of drafting and developing, and man, they took two. I knew they was going to take two cornerbacks in the draft. They took two, and they guessed right with Kyer, and right now it's looking like they guessing down right with Benford, because he's out there getting reps with the ones too on defense.
Now, just ask this question.
That's why we ain't paying Joe Payton $5 to $6 million in 1 year to come play with the Bills.
And just to ask this question for you, both of you gentlemen, if any of these cornerbacks had the potential to possibly move to safety, which one would it be? James, which one do you think it'll be?
You're not moving in the first round pick to think. So that's a wrap. Corner safety out of that's not a discussion. So I mean, Benford, I haven't seen him enough to know that's realistic. I have to say, if you got to pick between, obviously him.
Okay, Muki.
What was the question?
If any of these cornerbacks on this roster right now, let's just say down the line, a Micah Hyde or Jordan Poyer possibly are not retained. Like, then they're targeted in the future, because I hope Poyer gets his extension, still pounding the table for that. Which one of these cornerbacks has the potential to move to safety possibly?
I mean, they kind of experimenting with it now. When you look at Dick McLeod, Saran Neal. So you got other candidates that could work in this scheme, if Poyer is not re-signed or whatever the case. Those two definitely come to mind. Going to a safety. Benford, he played it, but right now I think they just want him to focus on being a corner.
So, but he did play safety in college a little bit.
Huh?
He did play safety before a little bit.
Yeah, Benford played some safety. He played some safety.
Okay.
But, they want him just to focus on playing corner right now.
That makes sense.
It's easier to convert from corner to safety than it's the other way around. So,
Worked for Aaron Williams, if you guys remember that correct. If you guys remember that. It worked for Aaron Williams before the career injury. But, yeah, guys, I mean, that was a good show. I mean, it's good to say football is back this weekend. So, I know Bills Mafia be tuned in. It doesn't matter if Josh is playing or not. You still be tuned in. Hell, if 40,000 of y'all are going to a scrimmage and all the training camp tickets is selling out, in 10 minutes, I know y'all are going to tune into that game. And also want to give a shout out to my guy Zach Moss. He hooked us up with the some tickets to training camp this week, and got me out there, got my little man out there and stuff like that, and got to look at the great Buffalo Bills hopefully this season, and so shout out to him, and we'll see what happens. Football's back this weekend. It's quick, only 3 preseason games now too. So as always, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm your host JTM. To my co-host Muki Hawkins, Bills beat writer. Muki, any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Well, Gilmore plays for the Colts, so I'm quite sure he's going to get an ovation. He probably won't play, but
ovation from who? From who? Bills fans?
Gilmore plays for the Colts.
Yeah, I know, but you said he gonna get an ovation.
Well, he's going to get one of those. What type of ovation.
He going to get a one-finger salute from these fans.
He's going to get, what type of ovation he's going to get.
Oh, okay.
Matt Ryan comes back from, doing what he did last year playing in Atlanta. So I'm just really excited to see what Ken Dorsey's offense is going to look like.
Yeah.
What is he going to run this week after seeing him run whatever he's been running all training camp? What he's actually going to run come game time? What is he going to start off with? I mean, I know it's going to be that exotic 12, but I just can't wait to see what out of the exotic 12 is he going to, tinker with first, and because it's a plethora of things. I'm telling you, this dude got an arsenal of plays and different variations, and again, Bills fans is going to be very happy and impressed to know that this guy's going to put up 40 points, more points than Brian Dable had. I firmly believe that. So I'm really excited to see that football is finally back. We get 2 games on Thursday to tease us until the Bills play on Saturday. So I'm just excited that football is back.
And James pounded the table for Ken Dorsey. Been saying this for 2 years. Enjoy Ken Dorsey while we have him, because I got a feeling we ain't going to have him long.
Nah, my opinion. If he does what we all think he's going to do, I think he's going after this year. I don't even think the Bills got to win the Super Bowl for that to happen. You know how they are with offensive minds, and I mean he's well respected through the league for quite a bit now. We were able to steal him as a quarterback coach for that long. If y'all once again, we interviewed him for the OC job back when, I believe it was before his name Dennison.
It was Dennison, yeah.
Yeah, Dennison got it over Dorsey. So. Man, I believe he's going to bring a lot of creativity. I'm excited to see what he does. Ready for these dudes to just get it rolling, man, and start putting this puzzle together.
Yeah. I don't have too many final thoughts, man. I'm just happy the football's back, and we can get ready for the Super Bowl trek. And like I said, if you guys are not already doing so, if you know anything about the Mafia homecoming party and how epic those parties have been the last couple years, we are planning for that. We're probably locking in a venue this week, so we'll be having details announced soon. So get over to that. It's called the Mafia Homecoming page on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. So get over there and keep the details. We pretty much got the special guest already locked in so far this year. So got to make that payment first. Got to make that down payment and make sure all the paperwork right. But we're gonna try to lock the venue in this week, and stay tuned for that. And I don't think nothing else is really going on, man. I mean, that's pretty much it right now. Oh, I know my guy Jay Spence and Joe Miller. I don't have the graphic up here. I'll put it up here next week. They got the karaoke event on the Friday before the home opener at the Heights in Buffalo. So I'll make sure I get the information for Spence and them on. Make sure I help promote that. I'm not sure I'll be able to go because I got a wedding to go to that weekend in Rhode Island, but we'll see. I just made a day trip to Rhode Island. To Rochester today, 5 hour there, 5 hours back, same day. So we'll see. We'll see if I pull something out of the hat. But as always, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week. And yeah, other than that, as always, much love. Go Bills.